ship docked against the outer hull of a large floating ring. The station resembled that of a massive donut floating through space. The passengers disembarked the ship through a small disc with hooks along the base. Sliding their feet through the hooks, the sound of heavy hydraulics pulled the disc and passengers into the hull. From 0G, every inch they were pushed upwards increased the gravity on their bodies as they equalized with the momentum of the massive gyroscope.
Please state your name and race.
A blue sheet of light began moving up and down the passengers, starting at a four-armed purple humanoid.
Detective Johnny Roots, Cameraman.
Then to a tall, slender figure with long ears.
Church investigator of the Galarian Otheran Gathering, Thel Vomai, Zadim Monk.
Then to a fashionably dressed winged creature.
Detective Lou Calypso, Dianese Siren.
The light then dropped to the kneecaps of the group, moving up and down something that resembled between a pig and a bird.
Private Investigator Grubby Lugslug, Salt Hog.
Welcome, detectives, to the Starbase Startopia. Mr. Lugslug, due to the increased attention of Salt Hog workers in the Starbase Corporation, you are encouraged to contain your visit to key areas of the engineering and pleasure decks.
It's gonna be one of those stations. Thanks.
As the floor finished its ascent, a dome opened above them, revealing the massive city inside the station.
Welcome to the engineering deck.
The engineering deck consisted of many dirty and oil-stained streets, lined with different buildings and compounds rising up into the roof, which then became the floor of the next deck above them. There was no horizon. If one were to look forward, they would eventually be staring back at the ground, as the curve of the station meant the streets did not just progress forward, but gradually upwards. Staring above you was to look 7 or 8 blocks ahead. The outside of the station had maglev trains constantly circling the city, along with an elevator to ascend to the next deck.
Startopia is a space station built by the Starbase Corporation for industrial, trade, and pleasure purposes. It is the largest station of its class and functions as a floating artificial city in space. However, as a floating city, its numerous species of inhabitants bring along their own issues. The station is currently going through a series of rising political disputes in regards to working rights of the Salt Hog unions. A recent incident has occurred that may be related, thus your summoning by the Starbase Corporation. You will have full power and authority to solve this incident. There has been a promised reward of 100,000 E upon the completion of your task.
With so many species spreading across the galaxy, the one currency that all cultures, races, and governments needed and could agree on was energy. Power packs were the standard wallet of any station or galaxy roaming citizen. As the detectives made their way to a service door, Grubby noticed a group of salt hogs spray painting a wall before they realized they were being watched and quickly ran away. Their tags simply read, "Up the GUG." The detectives followed the sloping floor until they reached the overseer's office, guarded on either side by silver and blue security scuzzers, small box-like robots. Upon entering the office, they saw a large room with a main desk towards the back in front of a large, clear plasteel window. In the center of the room, laying face down towards the desk, was a well-dressed, two-headed turrican.
Bad day at the office, huh?
No kidding. Who is he?
He's the station overseer of Startopia, Owen Adams.
Station Overseer? No wonder they're paying so much for this job.
Johnny kicked Grubby in the side before making his way to Owen's desk to inspect the contents.
Sorry, jeez.
Any lead so far?
Not much. No sign of forced entry. The doors recorded last entrance and exit were 11 hours ago and 40 minutes apart. Besides that, your guess is as good as ours.
Well, cause of death won't be too hard. He's been stabbed in his midsection, thin wound going deep,
Lou lifted up the corpse carefully.
and all the way through. Huh, that's strange. From the flesh, I'd say he got stabbed in the back, but the angles of the wound are different. Almost like whatever hit him was jagged?
Did Oin have any known enemies on station?
None in particular. As station administrator, he had to step on a few toes every now and again, especially of Gug protesters.
Yeah, I saw them at the entry port. Have they ever done anything like this before?
No, not to our knowledge.
Thel made his way across the office to the overseer's desk, a large silver surface with a blocky computer screen at its center. To the left and right of it were sliding compartments filled with various databanks.
Station hygiene, good. Station power, good. Station efficiency, yikes. Station financials, error.
Thel slid out the desk's data drawer. Inside were 9 brick-like touchpads holding the various troves of information. The 10th spot in the drawer, however, was empty.
The financial pad is missing. Log says it was removed 14 hours ago. Looks like someone's got a list of all major transactions on Startopia.
Johnny held up a small potted plant from the desk.
Is there a biodeck on the station?
Of course, every Starbase station has one.
Interesting. This plant's an invasive species. It's supposed to be blacklisted and scanned in for station quarantine.
As Johnny studied the plant, Lou noticed a piece of paper previously hiding under its base.
Sirens Alley frequent visitor discount. It's signed to See you soon, XOXO Angel. Where's Sirens Alley?
It's a love bar on the pleasure deck.
Love bar?
Seems like Oin was a regular. Maybe this angel will know if Oin was under any stress. Johnny?
Johnny stood at the back of the room, his eyes locked on his fingers as he rubbed them back and forth.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like a great place to start.
The detectives began to make their way out, when the towering figure of a Zadim monk draped in red robes, holding a silver staff that resembled a bolt of lightning, entered the room.
Oh, pardon me. I didn't realize how early we were.
That's alright, sir. We just finished up.
Who are you?
Oh, yes. My name is Master Ruby Farrick. I'm the head priest of the Galarian Ulthuan Gathering aboard Startopia. I've made my way down from the biodeck to deliver last rites for our late overseer. If there's anything I can do to help with the investigation, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Master Farrick, and may the blessings of the stars be with you.
Nerd.
The detectives left the priest and his entourage outside, making their way to the elevator behind them. The detectives watched as they ascended above the grimy, industrial complexes of the lower deck, skimming alongside one of the major buildings of the station, rising up and connecting to the ceiling of the deck above them. As the elevator rose to its apex, everything suddenly went black while they traveled through the internal workings of the station. Wires and power conduits illuminated the lift before the occupants were beholden to the sudden and rampant flashing lights of the pleasure deck. Whereas the engineering deck consisted of endless mass living quarters, energy recyclers, factories, and loading bays, the pleasure deck was one giant theme park. Rows of shopping centers, luxury hotels, neon-lined dance clubs with endless liquor. But the crown jewel of all were the love bars, filled with angelic winged sirens whose song would reach the deepest part of any species' heart and make them feel warm, fuzzy, turned aglow with love and completeness. As the detectives finished their walk down the streets of beaming faces and drunk throngs, they found themselves at Sirens Alley. It sat in a mix of smaller shops and rest areas away from the main strip.
Pretty secluded for a love bar.
Perfect for a station administrator looking for a little privacy.
The inside of the love bar held a small receptionist desk. A female siren sat with her head resting on her fist, staring blankly at her computer, which held a list of names next to a status that read either single or taken.
Hi, welcome to Sirens Alley, the softest place in the galaxy. Can I get you a room? Oh, sorry, group packages do cost extra.
Oh, no, we're not. It's...
It's okay. We're not here for a session.
Johnny revealed his station security badge.
We were hoping we could ask one of your employees some questions. Is there an angel here?
Oh, yeah, is everything okay? She's been in a state all day. I've been worried.
Everything's fine. There's been an unfortunate occurrence she may have some information on.
Oh, I see. By all means, please. She's the 4th door on the right. I'll let her know you're coming.
As the detectives made their way down the halls, they noticed the once colorful designs and vibrant paint had long since started to wear away. Even navigating this simple hallway was difficult due to the flickering, dim lights.
This place is way below Love Guild standards. I'm beginning to get worried Administrator Adams may have been taking advantage of our suspects.
It was impossible for her to finish her sentence as the door of Angel's room opened. The walls were a glittery pink. The light shined bright, giving the room a sparkly, enchanting allure.
Hello there, how can I help you?
The detectives filed into the room. It was small in size, barely enough space for a few luxurious couches. On the far side of the room was a doorway to a private area covered by 2 silk veils, and on the adjacent wall lay shelves full of jewelry, art, and to Johnny's irresistible notice, plants. Angel herself was a young adult. She wore what most races would consider to be a bathing suit. All sirens did, as they felt that every aspect of their beauty was part of their identity. Her looks would have almost been described as perfect if Lou hadn't noticed the slightest smears of makeup around her eyes from where she had been crying.
Much love to you, Angel. Lovely name. Did you choose it?
Much love?
It's a greeting.
Much love to you, Detective. And no, it's simply a working name. My chosen name is Sophie Elwood. You can call me Sophie.
Sophie, did you happen to know an Oin Adams?
Of course. He was a regular of mine.
How regular?
It started out as once every other month, but as time went on, he started coming 2, almost 3 times a week.
Always for a session?
No, not always. Sometimes he would simply sit and talk. Hey, where'd you get these plants?
The room went silent as all eyes turned confoundedly to Johnny, who shrugged at their glances, turning all eyes back to Sophie.
I got them from the biodeck. I go up there every now and again to get some starlight.
What about the jewelry? You buy all those on your own?
Oh, goodness, no. Some of them I did, but others were gifts.
From who?
Sophie was blushing now. The question had obviously struck a nerve.
Excuse me, but what does my personal collection have to do with Oin?
Thel smacked Grubby on the back of the head.
You're right. I'm sorry, Miss Elwood. Can you tell us the last time you saw Administrator Adams?
Sophie's eyes wandered around the room. Her silence lasted seconds that seemed like centuries before her eyes landed at the feet of the detectives.
Here, last night.
What did he want?
Nothing. His usual session. At least I thought so at first. He had been jumpy all week. I thought it was just because of work, but then he started talking about how he had some business to take care of at the Argon.
The Argon?
It's a club on the other side of the station.
Did he say what business he had there?
No, all he said was he had some business with the owner, and after that I should wait for him here.
Why would Adams want you to wait for him?
Sophie's eyes welled up with tears. She anxiously twisted a fine gem ring on her finger as her breaths began to break down into sobs.
Oh, sweetie, it's okay. I think that's enough for today. You've been a great help. We'll let you get some rest now. If you have any more information to send us, please don't hesitate.
Sophie simply nodded her head up and down as the detectives exited the room, closing the door behind them.
Poor girl.
Yeah, too bad she's lying to us.
But about what? Johnny?
The plants were the same genus as the one in Oin's office. They're on the same blacklist as well.
So they're from off station.
I think it's more than that. On the plant in Oin's office, the petals were covered in a thin layer of glitter. All of Sophie's were too, which means these plants might be getting on the station the same way.
What about the other gifts? Think they're all coming from Oin?
Or Oin's killer.
It wouldn't be the first time blood's been spilt over a siren's favor, but sirens are trained how to avoid those situations.
Well, none of that changes the fact that those gifts would have been almost impossible to get on an administrator's salary.
As the detectives left the Love Bar, Grubby perked up to the sound of loud, patriotic squealing coming from a nearby alleyway.
Hang on, guys. Let me turn over a few stones.
Grubby made his way towards the noise, where a group of salt hogs had raised up GUG signs and were angrily shouting at residents passing by.
That's right. Keep walking if you don't want to know the truth. The salt hogs work day and night for you anyway. Not like you care. Oh, hey! You! Aren't you going to stand with us and spread the message of disparity on this station?
Why, of course I would. How can I get involved?
Yeah, that is spirit. Come to Factory Section A for tomorrow. We're going to go on strike. The whole deck's gonna quit working, and we won't come back until we get better pay.
That's great, but tell me, I've heard of many protests on this station before. What makes this one different?
The Gug spokesman carefully looked around before squealing back in Garulian.
Well, don't tell anyone you don't trust, but word is the station's due for a standard energy report. Pretty soon, Starbase officials will be all over to inspect the station, and when they see our protests, they'll have no choice but to examine the station's finances. They'll see firsthand the volts we get paid and have to give us more.
Genius. Just genius. I'll be there. What did you say your name was?
Karga, I'll see you at the strike.
Grubby then scuttled away to the rest of the group, relaying his findings.
A protest to get Starbase official attention? That's an interesting plan.
It would also put a mountain of pressure on all upper officials of the station. Good work, Grubs.
Grubby.
Whatever.
Grubby angrily raised his snout to the air as the group arrived outside a bar lit by a flashing neon sign. The Argon. The Argon was a wide, one-story bar covered in neon around its edges. Underneath the flashing sign stood a heavy silver bulkhead guarded by a Kazvagorian in a torn suit, obviously made for an alien much smaller than him. His natural shell-like armor ripped through, especially at the shoulders and elbows.
Excuse us. Station security, we have a few questions for your boss.
Don't dare. You'll pay the door like everyone else. Entrance is 50E.
That's a bit steep, isn't it?
You want the best drinks on the station? Or do you want to keep bitching?
Grubby begrudgingly pulled his energy pack from his back pocket.
Somebody hasn't kicked enough puppies today.
The bouncer stood to the side, allowing the detectives through after they each plugged their packs into a battery station besides the door. The large bulkhead moved upwards, revealing the bar inside, darkness cut through by beams of light and flashing colors. As the detectives' eyes adjusted, they could see the full layout. To the left was a string of small steel tables whose bases were welded to the floor of the deck. A dance floor lay in the center, illuminated by glowing panels and a disco ball. To the right stood a packed bar, tended by a team of mechanical arms and drink dispensers, fed through long tubes leading to colorful tanks of liquid that disappeared into the ceiling. A small, red-painted scuzzer waddled towards the detectives.
Welcome to
The Argon.
Officers. This way, please.
The scuzzer led the detectives past the full dance floor and tables to the very back of the club at a fine, cushioned, round table.
We'd like to talk to the owner.
The scuzzer bowed up and down in understanding and waddled away. Lou traced her finger around the edge of the table, examining a small buildup of rust and paint. Grubby's place on the couch had springs that had totally collapsed, causing him to sink almost to the bottom of the cushion.
I hope the drinks are a lot better than the decor. Damn!
The scuzzer returned to the group with an array of colorful steel cups carried atop a tray in place of its hand.
On the house. Mr.
Argon.
will be with you soon.
The detectives all pulled back their steel cups, except for Grubby, who was still struggling to escape the couch that had consumed him. The coughs and gags from his companions, however, eased his desperation.
How is this place even making money? Those tanks are hooked right into the station. Where's this crap even coming from?
They must be synthesizing it straight from the biodeck. Judging by the taste, it's the bottom of the barrel stuff.
As the detectives struggled to stomach their drinks, a burst of light and music pulsed through the club, as something between a flying throne and a baby pram covered in speakers and piloted by a green frog-like slug descended from the roof.
Good evening, party galaxy! Or is it morning? I can't tell anymore, and if you still can, you haven't had enough to drink. Now I want to see you out there move until you remember your shift in 5 hours, or till you drop to the floor, got it?
As his chair flew around the room, encouraging the patrons to continue the party, his seat suddenly and wildly ejected pink glitter across the dance floor, giving anyone in its radius a magical and enchanting glow from the lights below. Once he was satisfied with his work, he made his way to the detective's now glittery, drink-covered booth.
Officers, pardon my lateness. Argon Melgo, club owner and your humble DJ. Can I get you another round?
No thanks. We're investigating an incident involving Station Overseer Owen Adams. Did you know him?
Of course I knew him. All station business owners did. It was his responsibility to make sure all Startopia businesses were kicking up their part of the taxes to the Starbase Corporation.
Did he have any enemies that you know of, or a reason someone would want to harm him?
Did you not just hear the word taxes?
Fair enough. When was the last time you saw Owen?
Ooh, must have been a while ago.
Really? We had a suspect say he was just here last night to discuss some business with you.
Oh, last night! Of course, sorry. You work too long in this place, you start to forget things. Owen was here, but just for a bit. Starbase officials are due soon, and he wanted to make sure that everyone was on their best behavior.
He talked with all the station store owners about this?
He talked to anybody who draws in a crowd about it, I'd imagine.
I'm sure that was a pain, on top of running a place like this. Can't imagine having to go home reeking of booze and covered in glitter. That stuff's not coming out of you, is it?
No, of course not. I get it personally to give the place a little extra pizzazz, you know?
Smart. Any other clubs on station have something like that?
Not a one. It's our, hook, you could say.
I'm sure it helps to keep the smugglers around too, huh?
What was that?
Well, we've been finding blacklisted materials all over Startopia, all covered in your hook. So you better start telling us something we want to hear, or I'll make sure you never drop that needle again.
I guess this stuff really is hard to wash off. Alright, you got me. I help certain individuals get certain hard-to-acquire items on station. And if you saw the kind of ease some of these bigwigs are willing to throw at a few small items, whew, you would too.
I'm sure we would. Got a list of your buyers? Any record of what they bought and how much they spent?
Of course not. What kind of stupid question is that? Do you keep a record of your illegal activities? No.
Was Owen here to see you about that last night? Did he know you were smuggling from off station? Better yet, was he buying anything from you?
No, of course the station overseer didn't know, and he certainly didn't buy anything from the likes of me. He was here last night giving me an earful about the state of the club, that was it.
Probably not something you have to worry about if all your real profits come from the black market, huh?
And just how exactly are you getting items past the quarantine scans?
Argon went silent. He raised his hand into the air, and immediately a scuzzer rushed to drink into it. He downed the contents in a single gulp.
We have them labeled as hazardous industrial materials. Any scans that come up as anomalies are automatically overlooked in case of radiation or something like that.
And where do they go after that?
They get taken with the rest of the industrial materials, to the Salthog factories on the engineering deck. After it arrives, I have a scuzzer pick it up and transport it to whoever made the purchase.
Just any factory, or one in particular?
Argon thought hard about the question, taking a much lighter sip of a fresh beverage brought to him.
If I tell you, I want total immunity from prosecution on it.
Absolutely not.
Johnny raised his hand to Thel.
If you tell us, you can have 2 rotations to get off Startopia. After that, we're reporting you to security, and you're fair game for the wolves.
Argon shuffled back and forth in his pram anxiously, as the deal almost literally seemed to roll around the inside of the slug's head.
Deal. The most recent shipment's being kept at Factory A4. Now, I've got some arrangements to make, so if you kindly make like a monk and fuck off, I would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. 48 hours.
Good luck, Glitter Tits.
Glitter Tits.
As they exited the Argon, the detectives gathered in a circle.
A4 is a great lead, but that might be a problem. That's the same factory the protest is supposed to be at. With all the tension, there's no chance they're gonna let a squad of detectives walk into their house and take whatever they want.
When is the protest set to begin?
16 hours from now, I think.
Talk about time to kill. There's no chance you could walk in and get what we need without us?
There's no way I'll get a whole crate of evidence past the entire factory without someone noticing.
Then we wait. We wait for the protests.
Really?
Think about it. It's the perfect cover to get in and out. All the workers will be out on the streets, and the factory will be completely empty. All the focus will be on station security. Nobody's gonna care if one salt hog slips back into the factory. Hell, they may not even notice.
That's good, but we'll have to cause enough of a distraction to make sure Grubby can get through. We'll also need to keep it pretty civil, to prevent a fight with station security from breaking out.
I think I can manage that as a monk of the church. I'll need an official blessing, though. Seeing as how we have time to kill and already know the guy, I say we drop by Master Ferrick's gathering on the biodeck.
Sounds like a plan to me.
The detectives made their way through the throngs back to the elevator and began ascending to the station's final deck. As the doors opened to the biodeck, the detectives were again blinded by the sudden inlet of light. However, what were once flashing neon signs had been replaced with the warm, soothing glow of starlight. The biodeck was the crown jewel of Startopia, and it showed. Small peaks covered in snow, stretches of bone-dried desert, a vast lake bleeding into creeks surrounded by greenery. The lack of gravity at the core of the centrifuge made the water not run so much as drift down streams, gently falling along rocks as simulated wind flowed through the trees and across the sands.
It's gorgeous.
I've been dreaming of seeing a place like this since I could plant a tree. There's a dedicated section for every major ecosystem and climate in the galaxy. Startopia is the only starbase that has a biodeck like this.
Why did they ever stop?
It wasn't cost effective. No matter what they grew, it always cost more to grow it. The gathering grounds should be somewhere over that hill.
So what exactly does the Galarian Ulthran Gathering believe in?
We believe in a mixture of science and faith, that everything in the universe is made of energy. When things die, that energy returns to the universe. To pass on with peace, you must make your body a temple. We reject many physical pleasures to keep our energy pure and positive, so that our energy passes into the universe with bliss.
No wonder the receptionist at Siren's Alley made you uncomfortable.
An investigative monk partaking in a group love session? Scandalous.
You should be ashamed.
We didn't do anything like that. We just questioned her.
Oh, is that what they're calling it these days?
As the detectives cleared the hill, they saw the gathering grounds in the base of a valley, where a large tower stood in the center of various boulders. The base of the tower was a square complex, with a floating stone above it reaching up to the glass roof, pointing towards the stars. Thel made his way to the door, where he raised one of the heavy rings that hung along the outside, bringing it down with a deep thud, and causing the door to swing inward slightly ajar. Grubby curiously stuck his head through the small gap.
Maybe nobody's home.
Thel pushed the door open further, causing Grubby to fall face first to the ground.
Hello? Master Ferrick?
Distant voices of worry could be heard from the far side of the gathering. The detectives made their way through the building, along the steel pews. Every surface had a degree of wear on it. The room itself was almost dark due to dust covering the stained glass windows, depicting various religious figures, giving up cards, flasks, and syringes. As the detectives approached the distant voices, they came upon two stout figures in fine red robes and heavy gold helmets, as one attempted hopelessly to lift the other towards a chandelier.
Great galactic peace, where did you lot come from?
What? Guests?
The panicking attendant swiftly dropped his companion.
Welcome, honored guests.
Congratulations on taking your first true steps to a peaceful existence.
Yeah, no.
We're here to see your boss.
Is Master Ferrick in?
Oh, I hardly ever leave. Thank you for your hard work, you two. Please, take a break.
Thank you, Master.
Master Ferrick, thank you for the welcome. We have some time to kill, and we're hoping to rest here.
Of course. A fellow monk and his friends are always welcome in this place. Please, make yourselves comfortable. There are cots in that storage crate and plenty of room outside for a stroll.
The group split up. Lou, Calypso, and Grubby went for the cots, while Johnny followed the attendants outside.
How goes the investigation? No more bodies for me to send off, I hope.
No, not so far at least. We have a string of evidence. Apparently, Oin had a favorite siren he frequented. She's got a loose connection to a smuggler, but I don't think she knows it.
How can she not know she's buying illegal plants from a smuggler?
Because she isn't the one buying them. Nobody is dumb enough to proudly display blacklisted items and then tell the police she bought them with her own energy.
So the plants really were gifts then? But from who? Oin?
Maybe that's why he was killed. Debt to smugglers isn't something they let go of easily, and with the examination coming up, it would threaten to expose the racket.
No, I think it's bigger than that. Even if Argon did kill him, it's only brought him unwanted attention, and it's exposed him anyway. His business is done here, and I doubt he would have destroyed everything he's built over one debt.
We still don't have all the information. The only thing we do have is a handful of motives. Other than that, we have no murder weapon and no clue as to where the missing financial data pad went. I mean, that alone might have all the evidence we need to finish this picture.
That's exactly what I'm hoping is at the factory. In the unlikely event Argon really is our killer, then he's got the data pad to cover his tracks. Even if he doesn't, there may be details on the contraband to lead us to any number of buyers who may know where it is.
Johnny closed the heavy church doors behind him and raised his forearms to bask in the sun. An attendant sat near him on top of a rock, slowly polishing Master Ferrick's bolt-shaped staff.
Nice, isn't it?
I've never felt starlight this warm on a deck before.
The clear steel is one of a kind. A few less layers than what's regulatory now. More photons, more heat.
This station is truly a gem. It makes me a bit sad to see the gathering in such despair. How come you guys don't clean this place up? Does it ruin your space karma to use a little glass cleaner?
No, our cosmic energy isn't affected by a little dusting and elbow grease. But our power packs certainly are. We haven't had a decent cleaning service or even basic chemicals in our budget for some time now.
Well, where does the energy for this place come from? I mean, it doesn't come down from the greater gathering?
No, all of our funding comes through donations exclusively. That way, the greater gathering doesn't have to worry about finances at all. But this place has been tapped dry of spare energy, apparently.
So nobody donates, but the gathering still holds enough power and respect on the station to be responsible for talks between the Starbase Corporation and the GUG?
I guess it speaks to the times, huh? And the economy. If it's alright with you, I'm gonna change the subject. I don't really want to think about this on my break.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Johnny looked back up at the slowly turning galaxy in deep thought amongst the trees while the next few hours slowly passed. By the time the detectives had left the gathering and made their way to the engineering deck, A4 had already become a divided battleground. On one side was an amassed force of station security and executives. On the other side, holding in front of the factory, was the GUG Union, made up of mostly salt hogs with a few insectoid targs mixed in. They paced the line of station security, chanting and squealing for fair pay. In the middle of the two forces was a small square meeting area with a long table lengthwise with the opposing groups, where representatives could be seen attempting to negotiate. One of the chairs, supposedly for the station administrator, was noticeably empty.
This is...
a shit show?
I was gonna say a mag train rack, but that works too.
At least we won't need to worry about making too much of a distraction.
Yeah, there's no chance that any of us are going to be able to make it through, other than Grubby.
Wait, you seriously still want me to slip into that mess?
Just another angry little salt hog, late for the rally.
Maybe you forgot your power pack in the factory after your shift. Who's to say you didn't, if they even care?
Grubby took an audible gulp before looking into the mob. He then spotted Karga, the same salt hog he saw earlier outside of Siren's Alley.
Alright, just make sure all eyes stay on that meeting in the center.
Good luck, Lugslug.
Grubby separated from the group and slid his way through a holographic tape line that directed traffic to pass by.
Hey, you made it!
I said I would, wouldn't I? Man, this is really some event.
It's great! There's no way the company is going to be able to ignore us now. Here, take sign.
Karga held out a sign, touting the message, "Starbase Star Sucks," in bold red marker.
Thanks. Oh, actually, I got a bit of a problem. I left my power pack in my locker after my last shift, and I kinda need it. It's It's got all my E for the next week on it so I could last the strike.
Oh, damn. You're kind of screwed, man. We bolted the outside of the factory a few hours ago after shutting down.
Shit. Well, what about the production entrance? There's always some exit for cargo only, and if there's no cargo going in or out, that means it's empty, right?
True. But you would need someone to hold the automatic doors open so you can get in and out.
Great, you can help me.
Brother, just go without your power pack for 1 week. I will get you some food for helping us out.
No, you... Ugh.
Grubby turned back towards the factory. It was completely dark, devoid of all life and power.
So, there's no backup generator or battery in there, huh?
Go fuck yourselves! No. Why?
Oh, just curious. I guess I was just thinking about how much E it would cost to keep the lights and basic systems running while the union's on strike.
You are all pieces of shit. It won't just be the profits they'll lose in 3 whole weeks. They'll start bleeding E every hour of every day we refuse to work. That's genius.
Wow, I didn't think of it like that, but I guess it is. Ugh, but there's still that whole thing with the bolts and the automated...
I will do it. I will get you in. We're just gonna have to be careful and wait for the precise...
At that precise moment, Lou Calypso, Johnny Roots, and Thel Vomai made their way to the meeting table. The crowd erupted with cries of Starbase attempting to drug and woo the GUG negotiators with their corrupt agents.
You were saying?
Grubby and Karga made their way through the screaming throngs to the back of the factory and its small loading area. A series of conveyor belts led to sealed doors that went into the production line of the factory itself. Karga pulled the doors apart, allowing Grubby to squeeze his way through, to which he did the same for her.
Alright, you go get your pack. I'll head up to command and get lights running. I'll meet you back here when we're done. Okie dokie?
Got it. And Karga, thanks again.
Grubby snuck his way through the dark industrial tunnels. He, like the rest of the Salt Hogs, had grown up working in industrial factories, naturally finding his way by running his hand along the various pipes and wiring until he came to a T in the hallway. Right, locker rooms, showers, bathrooms, for on-break workers only, of course. Left to stairs, warehouse, holding, and pre-shipping. There was a soft creaking of metal behind him. He quickly and quietly hunched down, holding his breath. After waiting a minute, he progressed down the left staircase. As Grubby reached the bottom, he was startled by the sudden flash of lights revealing the wide warehouse, stacked high and full with various crates.
Shit!
As soon as he spoke, a light appeared on the wall beside him. A blue panel displaying the various contents of the warehouse.
That works. Show me the latest intake of cargo. Non-synthetic, marked for hazardous material.
A light in the far back of the warehouse began flashing off and on in answer.
Read. Damn, I'm good.
Grubby made his way past the stacks of synthesized parts and materials to a stack of black, unmarked crates. He inspected them slowly, hearing a small and steady beep coming from the bottommost crate.
The data pad?
As he opened the box, the amalgamation of tangled wires and highly explosive material attached to a slowly descending timer shattered his excitement.
Or not.
Unhand me, you miserable malformed shit!
Freeze! Hands in the air, nice and slow.
Grubby complied, and slowly began to turn around. As he turned, he saw the large armored Kazvagorian holding Karga against his chest, a laser pistol pointed towards Grubby.
Easy there. Put her down. Things are about to get really bad.
Bad move to threaten Starbase security, pal.
I could say the same to you. Inside my jacket, left side.
The Kazvagorian thought for a second, then nodded. Grubby lifted up the left side of his jacket, revealing the badge inside.
You son of a bitch! What's in there, huh?
A bomb.
Excuse me?
Officer, there is a bomb inside this box.
Grubby slowly stepped aside, revealing the explosive in its timer, steadily ticking down. The Kazvagorian stood in shock for a brief moment, dropping Karga, who took off into the factory. Disregarding her existence, the Kazvagorian pulled up his sleeve, revealing a small radio wire, whispering various code words and numbers into it. As he did, alarms blared, and the lights outside the factory began flashing red.
We have to go!
There's no time. Pressure-tight doors are locking down this entire neighborhood.
Well, we gotta get out of the factory at least. I have to be able to carry something in these crates.
If the explosion doesn't kill us, the hole that thing is gonna punch in the hull most certainly will. Do you know anything about defusing a bomb?
Yeah, let me break out my wire cutters. Of course I don't know anything about bomb defusal!
Well, you better learn fast. It doesn't look too complex. Simple timer rigging. One of the wires is attached to the battery, the other is to trigger the material.
Okay, great. I get what happens when we cut the battery, but what about the trigger?
Let's not do that. Do you know anything about wiring?
Of course not. I already said I didn't. It wouldn't matter if I did. Every station has their own system. I have no idea what color system they... Computer!
The blue panel along the far wall flashed on.
Search for wiring stockpiles, power transfer, activation conduits.
As lights began to flicker on the opposing side of the room, Grubby lunged forward.
I'm on the wires.
I've got the bomb.
Grubby ran full speed towards the light. Not trying to slow his momentum, he used it to rip the box from its pile, scattering colorful bundles of labeled wires across the ground.
Which one?
I'm looking! Simple power transfer, power storage, battery transfer storage, slow processor activation.
Give me something here, or this blue wire's getting it.
Don't cut the blue wire! Main station power line, remote time activator, cut the blue wire!
Are you sure it's the blue wire?
Cut it now!
The Kazvagorian raised it up and carefully fired a laser bolt through the thin blue wire, scrunching his eyes shut and preparing for his last moment in life. Then the moment passed. And then another. And then another.
There, that wasn't so hard now, was it?
The doors to the factory blew open. A storm of station security and scuzzers flooded the room, weapons drawn, while the rest of Grubby's companions followed.
Grubby, what the hell happened?
Is everyone okay?
We're all good. Just doing a little on-the-job training.
We found a Gughog who was screaming about a bomb in the factory. We tried to get to you, but the emergency lockdown held us out.
You did good, Grubs. This is it, I'm guessing?
Yep, that's the one. Looks like we aren't the only ones who have had enough of Argon Melgo.
Thel inspected the bomb and the tangled wiring around it. As he pulled his hand away, a small fleck of bright pink glitter drifted to the ground.
Other way around. I think he's had quite enough of us.
As Thel turned around, he walked headlong into the Kazvagorian.
Oh, I'm sorry. You must have been the officer who put out the alert. Your name is?
Detective Brock Thompson. Hired by the Starbase Corporation.
Really? I didn't realize there were other detectives on this case.
Did you follow the evidence from the Argon down here too?
Not exactly. I've been following a different string of evidence. Grubby Lugslug, you are under arrest for the impersonation of galactic law enforcement.
Grubby slowly raised his hands as the security team turned on him.